Okay, I'm very happy to have on the Goldstein on Gelt Show Peter Bregman, who is the CEO of Bregman Partners. He's a best-selling author, and he wrote a fascinating book called 4 Seconds, All the Time You Need to Stop Counterproductive Habits. Peter, can people really stop counterproductive habits in 4 seconds?
Yeah, you only need a moment of awareness. That if you think of any habit, the habit, if you find its moment of inception happens in a moment, right? I have a habit of coming home every day and eating a pint of ice cream, or I have a habit of looking at you and yelling, and whatever it is that my habit is, I just need a moment to subvert the counterproductive act. I need a moment to say, you know what, I'm walking in, I'm actually not going to eat that ice cream. Mm-hmm. And that 4 seconds is the amount of time it takes to take a deep breath. So there's things that go on physiologically when you take that deep breath. But the idea is you're always one breath away from making a better choice.
So just to be clear, and as you know, the Goldstein on Gelt Show is a personal finance show. So I want to take everything you're saying and put a personal finance twist on it. So one of the things, for example, that people do is they're feeling depressed and they go out for what we call retail therapy. They spend money to solve their problems. And of course, it doesn't solve their problems. How could a person stop doing that?
They should eat ice cream instead, and then that would subvert them. No, so what they can do is, first of all, it's really helpful to recognize that this is a habit, right? So the first thing, and you probably only realize it after you've bought your 7th dress or 5th computer, that you're kind of running into this trouble. So you might not catch yourself beforehand, but if you can catch if you recognize this as a habit, then you can realize, I'm not feeling so good. I'm getting this urge. There's a 3-step process that you need, in effect, to subvert an urge. One is a moment of awareness. The second is the ability to resist urges. And the third is a replacement behavior. So in the case that you're describing, I have to have a moment of awareness that I'm about to go shopping in a way that is all about my feeling depressed and anxious, not about actually my needing something. So you have that moment of awareness. You take a deep breath and you go, this is what's happening. Then you're not done, because you still need the ability to resist urges. You still need the ability to say, I realize that's what's happening, and I'm not going to follow through and, buy a bunch of stuff that I don't need. And one of the ways to do that when you've resisted the urge is to have a replacement behavior. What else are you going to do? What will more effectively quash that desire? What will address your depression or frustration or anxiety more effectively than going out and buying a bunch of stuff and then feeling guilty about it afterwards?
Okay, so let's take your example a little bit further. Let's say that I have gone out and I bought 7 dresses, and then I get this moment of awareness and I say, Doug, don't go buy an 8th dress because I'll be unhappy. How do I then develop the ability to resist the urge to go and buy a new dress? So not, of course, that I would buy a new dress, but
you might after the 7th. So the one of the things that I talk about in the book and that I really believe in is meditation. And meditation, what you're doing when you're meditating, even if it's for a short amount of time, is you're committing to some amount of time to just sit and to breathe. And if you're going to sit and breathe, when you do that, you're going to have thoughts, because we have thoughts. And those thoughts are going to suggest that you get up and do something, because it's hard to just sit. So you're going to sit there and you're going to come up with the best idea you've ever come. This idea is not only so good, if you don't write it down, you're going to forget it. And if you do write it down, then you actually may cure cancer, or at least, create world peace and solve hunger. And yet you're just sitting there. And your timer hasn't gone off, so you can't write it down and you can't get up. And in that moment, you are learning, you are training yourself to have an urge and resist it. You're developing your muscle that allows you to want to do something but not do it, even if it's scratch or if it's get up and move your leg or whatever it is. If you're committed to just sitting for some period of time, you are training and increasing your capacity to withstand an urge.
We're speaking with Peter Bregman, a best-selling author, and he helps people to realize bad habits, and he talks them in his book, 4 Seconds, all the time you need to stop counterproductive habits. He talks about how to actually change those bad habits into good habits. So it's funny, I as we're talking, Peter, I'm taking notes, and I wrote meditation, and then I'm thinking, there's no way on the Goldstein on Gelt show that, we're going to talk to people about meditation. It sounds all, woohoo, nothing personal. But tell me, why is it not that? And I'm happy to discuss it because, frankly, a lot of people that I read and that I respect, I know engage in this, but I try it and I try to relax and I have the apps that help me to listen and to breathe. But I'm not sure it's sticking. I do end up just, my mind races, and then I feel, okay, this better end soon so I can get up and do what I have to do.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts about it, because for some of your listeners who might be very comfortable praying, right, or davening, and okay. The corollary I would make is, you're in the Amidah and you have a moment of silence where maybe you're not reading, but you're connecting and you're breathing and that's a useful way of thinking about it, because meditation is a form of prayer in a sense. You're slowing down your breathing, you're slowing down enough to connect with something that may be bigger than you. But the other thing I would say is, if you're suspect, that's fine. You don't have to believe in it. There's this great story of a professor who, was very well known to be a skeptic of all sorts of charms, and he had a horseshoe above the door to his office. And one of his graduate students walked in and said, "Professor, I can't believe you have a horseshoe there. Like, I thought you don't believe in that." And his answer was, "I don't believe in it, but I understand it works whether you believe in it or not." And so this idea that take 30 seconds to just breathe and see how you feel afterwards. Okay. Take 10 seconds. Take one deep breath. Take one deep breath in the midst of the craziness, this is a show in Israel, like the balagan that we're facing like all the time. Like take one deep breath and see how you feel afterwards. And if it's kind of nice, take another. And suddenly, after 4 deep breaths, you'll be like, wow, I just meditated for 4 deep breaths. It's not rocket science. There's no heebie-jeebie magic or mysticism to it.
All right. Okay, so you're convincing me. I'm going back to it. Let's talk about another area that at the outset, I think I'm disagreeing with you, because I understand that you've said that by setting goals, you can actually harm your performance. And I often talk to people in my day job as a financial advisor about setting goals, things like retirement planning or paying for a kid's wedding or college. Why do you think that harms your performance?
It's interesting. It doesn't have to harm your performance, but the problem with goals is that people pursue them. And that ultimately, when we pursue a goal at the exclusion of other things, we end up doing things that achieve the goal, but don't get us the reason we set the goal in the first place. So, how many entrepreneurs do you know who decide they want to start their companies and be entrepreneurs because, they want freedom and they want to, spend more time with their families, and they want sort of creative license, and they have all these things. They want to make money too. And then they end up achieving their goal and starting their company and hitting every single financial objective, but they're divorced and stressed out and, have no creative license because they're just trying to keep their clients. And it's like, I've met my goal, but I've missed the reason I set my goal. And there's this great, I talk about in the book, Ken O'Brien. It's a great example, former New York Jets quarterback. He was throwing too many interceptions. So they set a goal for him, throw fewer interceptions. And they compensated him for it. That's often what we do. We get compensated for achieving our goals. And it was reasonable, fewer interceptions thrown, and he achieved it, right? And he made more money. But the problem was his performance went down, because the reason he threw fewer interceptions is because he threw fewer passes. So he was passing less, getting intercepted less, scoring less, and making more money because he was achieving his goals. And this kind of thing happens a lot, where we achieve our goal at the cost of something more important. So I think we need to be very aware of why we're setting the goal in the first place, and to focus on that as opposed to, the end goal.
That sounds like a very real story. The type of thing, quite frankly, just recently I was in my office sitting in a conference room with some clients, and they were talking about how they had to invest in the stock market. And I said, why? I said, well, we have to grow the money. I said, but you have plenty of money already. You could invest very safely. And they said, yeah, but, Doug, you're a financial advisor. You know about the stock market, and over the long term it does better. I said, yeah, I know all that. But for you, it doesn't make sense. In fact, that's going to make you miserable if the market goes down and you lose 20% of your money. Whereas if you just invested it very conservatively, you got the interest, you collected that, lived on it, helped your kids and grandchildren, you'd be much happier. And I think what you're saying is look at goals in terms of what's actually going to make you happier, not these sort of distant monetary goals or time goals that, so you achieve it and then what? Which I think is a real problem. Peter, it's a great point you're making, and I know you make many, many other points, but we're just about out of time now. So tell us, in the last few seconds, how can people follow you, learn more about what you're doing, and follow your ideas?
The best way is to go to our website, which is peterbregman.com, peterbregman.com. And you can really access everything. The book is 4 seconds, all the time you need to stop counterproductive habits, and you can get that on Amazon or hopefully wherever books are sold. But peterbregman.com is the best way.
Okay, we will put a link to that at the show notes of today's show at goldsteinongelt.com. Peter, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.